Hello, welcome to Bookkeeping Software. We're going to look at Wave Apps today. My name is Mike Higley. I'm the owner and president of Proactive Accounting and Advisory Services. And we put together this little training video to help small business owners utilize this currently free bookkeeping software. So we're going to go through that today. Now, first off, why do you need to keep good records? Number one, it's important to know the financial position of your business. How much money have you made? How much, what balances are in your current accounts, things like that. Bookkeeping software saves time, especially one like Wave, where it will link to your banking statements and bring in those transactions for you, and then all you have to do is classify them. It also has a bulk or a batch transaction, meaning that you can classify multiple transactions, multiple similar transactions all at the same time. Now, for tax purposes, you have the burden of proof to prove any deductions. Excuse me. So if you ever get audited by the IRS, it is your responsibility to prove that you have deductible expenses. Bookkeeping software is a good way to organize those expenses. Many will also allow you to upload receipts in addition. Now, as a tax preparer myself, we have an obligation to verify the return, and we sign the return under penalty of perjury. So we are not able to put something on that we know is false or made up. And so we have an obligation, and again, bookkeeping software helps us to fulfill that. And one of my favorites as an accountant is that if you're using a cloud-based software, you and your accountant can access your books in real time, meaning you could call him up or her up and ask him, hey, can you take a look at my books real quick? You can look at transactions in real time, get them categorized or classified, get your questions answered, and get done what you need to. Now, for my clients, and I think for every small business, this is what I recommend, how you set everything up and what you have for your small business. Number one, and I think almost paramount, is you should have a separate business bank account. The separate business bank account is especially helpful if you use it for all your income and expense flow-throughs, meaning that if all your expenses flow through there, all your income, even cash. We recommend you reporting even cash transactions. Now, if you're using a separate credit card, we recommend using a separate credit card, one that is just designated for business use. Even if it's a personal card that you've just set aside and say, okay, I'm only going to use this personal card so that you get those miles or cashback bonus or whatever, you just use that for business, and then you pay for that business credit card out of your business checking account. That keeps all of your transactions there. If you have those separate bank accounts, you'll need to access them through online banking in order to link them to a bookkeeping software. And then for this one, you need an email address. And it can be a separate email address that you don't use, for your clients. For example, we have an email address that I use to correspond with my clients, and then I have an administrative email address that I use for logging into all of my various apps and things like that. Now, in this demonstration, we're going to go over how to register for Wave. There's the website for it. We're going to show you how to connect bank accounts. We're going to show you also how to upload transactions. Now, this is helpful, especially if, say for example, you want to do a whole year's worth of transactions. Maybe you want to do all of 2023. When you link your bank account, many banks will only go back 90 days or 6 months or a year, and it might not get all the transactions that you need in order to do your bookkeeping for the entire year. So we're going to show you how to upload transactions and then how to classify those transactions. We'll also show you how to do quick journal entries so that you can add, let's say you paid for something out of your personal account or something like that. We'll show you how to do journal entries. We're going to show you how to reconcile the bank statements, which in my opinion is important for making sure that you have all of your transactions, assurance that they're all correct. We're going to go over the reports tab. We're also going to show you how to add a user or an accountant to your books so that you can have someone else help collaborate on those books. And then we'll briefly go over some of the other functionality like sending out invoices or how to set up receiving payments electronically through Wave. Okay, so we're going to jump over to Wave. So there's the website, waveapps.com, or if you forget it, you can always just Google Wave or Wave Apps. I always skip the sponsored links, but so Wave Small Business Software. So then signing up it's free. So I'm going to use a new email that I don't believe I've used yet. Maybe I have already. Let's try this one. Okay, so once you've picked a password, they want it to be a strong password, and your email address. So you're going to put in your name, the name of your business. I'm going to call this Business Wave Training. Select the industry that you're in. You can be in whatever. And then how is your business set up? Are you a Schedule C? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you an LLC? And then if for an LLC, how are you taxed? Are you single member? Do you have more than one member? So we're going to set that up and then click next. And then it wants just a little bit of information about your business. Okay, when did you start business? Well, let's say we started in 23. How many customers do you have? Do you have a handful? Do you have a couple? Do you accept payments online? For example, using PayPal or a credit card. So you can say no, not yet, but I want to start. Or yes, you accept payments online. And I'm going to say no, not yet, but I want to start. And then it'll ask you, how do most people pay? Do they use PayPal? Do they use checks? Do they use cash? Do they use credit cards? Or how they currently, I'm assuming, use like Venmo or cash, we'll say cash or checks. Okay, and then it's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? You want to send invoices to your customer? Do you want to run payroll? Organize your books? Not sure yet. I'm going to put organize your books because that's kind of where this free one is very valuable, is organizing your books and everything. You can add your mobile number to it so that you can get, they'll do two-factor authentication, things like that. So they're going to send us a code, and don't share these codes. Okay, so once you've registered, so now I've registered a bookkeeping software for this Wave training company that I've just created. There's a couple of things you can do. You can hire an expert. You can customize stuff. We're just gonna do the simple items first. So we've registered. Now we want to do banking because we want to connect our bank accounts. So over on the left-hand side are the tabs. Banking is about halfway down. If you click on it, the first thing is connect accounts. So you click on that, and it'll have default accounts for many of the big banks, right? So let's say you're with Chase or you're with whatever your bank happens to be. Some of them use a service called Plaid that'll help you verify. Unfortunately, I'm not going to connect an actual account, but usually it will walk you through step by step on how to connect those accounts. If you have a Discover card or an American Express, right? It'll walk you through the steps in order to connect those bank accounts. Now, if for whatever reason you cannot connect your accounts or you need to upload transactions that you have in a CSV file, so you go to your bank's website, You say, okay, I need all my transactions for 2023 in a CSV file. The tricky thing is making sure you don't duplicate transactions, right? So if you do connect your bank account and it goes back to, let's say, July 1st, that you only grab transactions June 30th to January 1st. So pay attention to the date of the first transaction that is brought in on your bank account. Okay, so once you have your, you need to upload transactions. So I'm under accounting and under transactions, and let's say I have a CSV file already of my transactions, and I actually have one that we will use. Let me just show you a sample of it in the CSV file. So this is essentially a download from a bank, and it's just transactions I've created. This one, there's two ways to do it, right? They could all be in one column with your deposits as positive and your withdrawals or spending as negative, or two columns, and you want all your numbers to be positive. My bank actually download the withdrawals in negative, but put them in a separate account, so I had to change all those negatives to positive. But so that's an example of the data that we're gonna import. So we're gonna say upload bank statements, import transactions. So if you click on that, so these are the types of files that it will accept. It will accept QuickBooks files, or simply, and this is downloads from your bank. This is not, you can't take your QuickBooks file and upload it like this. This would be when you export your transactions from the bank, it will say, what format do you want to use? And so CSV file is what we're going to use. So we're going to choose our practice transactions here. And then we're going to actually create a new bank account, because I don't have it linked. So if you don't have it linked, you'll have to get a new bank account. Actually, let's go create it through the chart of accounts. So over under accounting, there's chart of accounts. And we want to add a new account, and we want it to be cash and bank, and we're going to call it, checking account. It's a good idea to add some, if it's a chase or maybe the last four digits of the checking account, just so that you can easily identify which account it is, especially if you have multiple accounts. Okay, so I now have a checking account created, so I'm going to go back to transactions. I'm going to upload my statement again. I'm going to choose a file, and it's the wave, those transactions that I've saved, and we're going to do it to the checking account, and we're going to upload. And so now it previews the data, and it's okay, now help us figure out which columns are which. So it wants that to be the date column, which it guessed correctly. So we're going to say yes, that's the date column. Which one is the deposits column? In this case, the deposits is the credits. So I'm going to say, okay, those are my deposits. And then the description is this column, so we're going to say that. And then it's going to say, okay, this is what I've got. I got date, description, withdrawals, and deposits. And then we're going to click upload. Now these transactions are in your books. Okay, in this case, I only did just a couple months, but just so that we could see what those transactions look like, so that they would flow in. Now one of the best features of this type of accounting software is, now that all the transactions are in, or if it's pulling them automatically from your bank account, all you have to do is go in and tell it, okay, what is that transaction? For example, Office Depot. It's not uncategorized expense. That's kind of the default for all expenses. It would be like an office supply or office supplies. And if you don't see an account that matches, you can certainly add a new category and say, okay, well, I want to further break stuff down. I've got meals and expense, meals, and maybe I have meals with clients or meals for the office, right? You might have more than one type of meals. And then once you've categorized it, it gets a check mark. And the green check mark means it's reviewed, it's done. And all these blank check marks mean they haven't, okay? So that's transaction by transaction, but you can go through and do all the transactions that are similar. So I can say, okay, I've got rent on October 1st, probably a rent on September 1st. Is there another rent? Nope, I don't have another rent. But so then I can come up here and I can edit all the ones I selected to the same account. So I can go rent, and I want to change the category to rent expense. And then I want to mark them as reviewed and accepted. And boom, now I've done those transactions all at once. Same thing you can do, like if there's multiple restaurants, let's say, Arby's. I don't think I added any extra restaurants, but you could go through and get all the restaurants, Subway, Arby's, McDonald's, whatever restaurants are coming through, and you can go in and categorize all of those. So make sure you unselect the rents that you did before. So now I've got my Arby's selected, and again, I just hit edit and change the category to, this would be meals. It says meals and entertainment. Entertainment is not currently deductible, but that's what it's classified at. So then you'd apply it. Okay. So then that would be how you would classify it. Once all of those transactions are classified, same thing with the deposits. If all your deposits are income, you can go through and just bulk classify them to an income account. But don't forget to unselect the ones you classified right before. So I take off all my Arby's. I'm going to edit it again to category, and this is all income, so I'm going to go to sales. Okay, and if you need, you can scan receipts, right? So there's a scan receipts function right there that you can set up to scan for different transactions. If you need to, let's say you paid a personal expense, you can add an expense to this account and say, okay, well, what was the date of it? Write the description. Did it come out of maybe it came out of your personal account? So we would use this owner investment and drawing. Let's just say that, yeah, on January 3rd, I did I went out for sushi with client, right? And I paid for my personal funds because I didn't happen to have my business bank account. It's going to go in meals. Put the amount on the receipt. Let's say it was $42.38 with tip or whatever. You can scan the receipt or upload the receipt. Mark it as reviewed and save. And it's going to add this transaction in here that maybe came through a different account, right? And you can, most of these are all checking, right? So once you've added all your expenses and all your transactions, then you can do what's called a bank reconciliation. Again, a bank reconciliation is helpful because it takes the bank statement that the bank provides you, and then it gives you an opportunity to compare that with what's in QuickBooks. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an actual bank statement because I made up these transactions, but I can show you how the reconciliations work. So if you, under accounting, if you click on this reconciliations on the left, there's a tutorial you can watch, which is very helpful. And then you're going to pick which one you want to reconcile. And then when you reconcile, you're basically getting the most recent statement. In this case, maybe you have the December 31st, or our transactions were only through like October. So let's say it's the October 31st statement, and then you would put the ending balance. And let's say the ending balance is, I don't know, $1,500. Whatever the bank statement says is the ending balance. And then it's got all of these, and then all you have to do is go down and say, okay, is that on the bank statement? And so as you check off, yes, that one was on the bank statement. Yes, that one was. Maybe the rent hadn't cleared yet, right? So we'll do everything but rent. right? So you go through matching everything up. And then, ones that, for example, that, okay, this September rent never hit my bank statement. Now okay, is that a real transaction? Did I forget to send it? Did it come out of a different account? So then you can investigate and say, okay, why is it different? Why is it different? Do I need to, is it a duplicate, right? You can look for other transactions that are similar in amount right next to it. Oh, yeah, I entered the transaction and then it came to the bank feed and I added it again, right? So I've got a duplicate transaction. In that case, I would delete, the one that's duplicated. Once for our clients, for our businesses, we require our customers to do their bank reconciliations up to the end of the year for all their cash accounts, checking accounts, savings accounts, and credit cards accounts. Because again, then it'll generate a report of, hey, these are outstanding items, and we can ask them, hey, are you still waiting for them to cash this? Is this, you say you have a deposit of, we had one client who, they had $6,000 that they had thought they'd received but had never cleared the bank, and so they were able to go back to the customer and say, hey, can you investigate this? And like, oh yeah, it never went through on our end. So they were able to get $6,000 more in cash, right? Just because they had thought it was paid, they hadn't been reconciling their bank accounts and hadn't followed up, and so that was very helpful for them. We're going to look at reports. So one nice thing about this software that I really like is that if it's in your transactions tab, it goes onto your report. QuickBooks doesn't do that, right? If it's not categorized, it doesn't go in the report. But this particular one, so we're going to go back to last year. And so you can see we have all of our income. We can show our details to expand it. And you can see, so we classified the office expense, we classified some meals and entertainment, rent. Everything else is sitting in, all these ones we haven't classified yet are sitting in uncategorized expense. So we still have a really good understanding of, okay, how much profit do we have even though we haven't maybe gone through all the transactions yet. And so, it will show you that. And then this would be what you would send to your accountant. Same thing, if you went to the balance sheet. So we like to see the balance sheet, the profit and loss, and even a general ledger that shows all the different transactions, so that we can look through. But in this case, I have cash. I put in some personal money, and so that's contributions I made to my business, and then the income makes up the rest of my profits. Okay, now, so that's kind of a rough overview of how to work in Wave. I'm going to skip. I know I said add account yet, but so now we can do invoices. So if you want to create an invoice under sales and payments, click on the invoice. A nice thing is you can upload, so you can add your logo, so you can customize your invoices so they look real professional. Use the colors. We use a lot of blues in our business, and you can look between the different templates, contemporary, modern, classic, whichever is more your classic, that's kind of weird. Contemporary looked good to me. Sorry if you like the classic one. But then you can also add payments. So you can set up payments, and then it basically charges you a fee when they pay it, but it goes to the invoice. It emails them the invoice, and they have a link they can pay right in the invoice, and so it's a way to get paid much more quickly. And then there is a fee, and so you can set that up in order to. So in this case, your credit cards would cost you about 3%. Amex is a little bit more expensive, but you can add those payment options just to get paid more quickly. Okay, so last thing is how would I add my accountant? Okay. So over in the upper right where it says the name of your company, mine says Wave Training. If you do that pull down, you're going to go into the business settings. So if you click on that, and up at the top there under settings is users or user management. And so you click on the users and you can say, okay, who do I want to add? And so in this case, you can give full admin rights if you have, an account you work with closely that you go back to year after year after year and you trust them. You can do editor, which is very similar to admin. And then you would add their name and their email, and it would send them an invitation. Now, for my clients, we use my administrative email for Wave is info@aproactivecpa.com. So that's the email you would put in there to invite us as an accountant, and it would send us an invite, and then we can collaborate on your books together in real time. And so it's really nice feature, helps you answering questions, things like that. I hope this has been helpful. If you do have any questions, you're welcome to contact us. Again, my name is Mike with Proactive Accounting Advisory Services. There's our website, aproactivecpa.com, my email, my customer email, and our office phone number. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like or subscribe to our channel. We're going to continue to add more and more content to help individuals and small business owners to have a better understanding of their finances and of accounting and tax needs. So be sure and hit that like or subscribe button. If you have any questions, though, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this video as well. And have a great day.